It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show. It is Espresso. Now, when it comes to creating a new space, be it your home or even your office space, there are some standard decor rules that we tend to adhere to. Now, it often turns out that these rules are simply myths and that they should be challenged. And here to discuss some of the greatest myths in interior design is one of our absolute interior favorite gurus. It's Dylan Tomaj himself. Welcome back.
So good to see you again.
Also good to see you.
The best time with you.
Oh, listen, I have so much fun with you, and it's going to be so cool to now debunk some of the decor myths that's out there. I live in an apartment. Is it true that small spaces need to be white and neutral? Because I find it very boring.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. So, I mean, white color obviously reflect light and stuff like that, which is really important. But the darker colors tend to absorb light, which isn't always a good thing. But there's different elements that you can address. So like you could put white shelves up against the wall, which actually make the space feel slightly bigger. Mm-hmm. You could also use a lot of reflective stuff, which is reflective surfaces, which would be like mirrors, which also just make the space feel bigger, which is important. So you could go either neutral or darker, but I wouldn't go darker necessarily. I'm a fan of white spaces.
Okay, you like the white, lighter spaces. And then is it a myth that in a small space you need to have small furniture?
That is the biggest myth ever. It really, really is. I mean, even the bigger the piece of furniture, the bigger the space looks, even if it's in a small space.
Okay.
And because smaller spaces have become quite technically challenging, we need to look at how pieces of furniture could actually make a space feel bigger. So instead of necessarily using a TV unit, a plasma unit, you could always use a sideboard so you have extra storage.
Oh.
Or a coffee table could have storage within the space to hide like board games and things like that, which is also a really important thing.
Now, something you've taught me is that to bring color into your space, you do it through your artwork, you do it through your flowers and your scatter cushions. Now, let's talk about those scatter cushions. Is it true that patterns shouldn't mix? You should stick to one type of color palette?
Okay, so color palette, yes. Okay. For me. From a pattern point of view, if you keep the patterns in the same color tones, you could mix any patterns, and you can actually go a little crazy, if I could say crazy. But what I do love about mixing patterns is you can look at, if you see the image on the wall, the art has a bit of black and white in it, the scatter cushion, and then you have bringing more texture in with the other black scatter cushion, which is velvet. So when you mix textures together, that brings patterns and how it all like merges in a really sophisticated way. And
I really like that. I mean, looking at this image that we've got up here, the artworks, it's circular. Here on the pillow, you have diamonds. You're bringing in different shapes, but like you said, the same color tones.
Which is really important.
Palette. Okay, see, we are learning here. We are debunking those myths. And when it comes to a dining room space, yes. I mean, you helped me put this beautiful space together. I love your choice of chairs that you've gone for. We went for these beautiful, how would you describe these?
So these are quilted, yes,
the quilted back, to bring that feminine touch to the space, because that's something Leanne would have loved.
Yes.
Is it true that your furniture, when it comes to your dining room table, the chairs need to match?
That's the biggest myth as well. So a lot of people love mixing and matching different types of chairs, but when you want some sort of symmetry, you could have a bench on the one side of a rectangle table, and then you could have other chairs that match it on the outside. And a lot of people do two different end chairs to these side chairs, so it's a complete myth. And also, if you love two designs, why not have both designs in your space, right?
And if you got a small little, let's say you have a smaller dining room table, yes. 4 chairs, yes. Can you have one each different one, or is that too much? Is that pushing the boundaries a bit?
For me, that's pushing big boundaries. Rather keep the symmetry of it because it is a smaller space, right? But if you have the luxury of a rectangle-shaped table, rather than mix it up, just to add a little bit more texture and depth to your space.
Okay, well, Dylan, we always learn so much from you. It's so great to have you here. Thank you for joining us this morning.
You're most welcome.
Well, there you have it. Never believe everything you hear and trust in your creativity. It's really safe to say that while trends may have evolved and changed, with the right staple pieces, you can always adapt them to your personal aesthetic. Now, let us know your decor tips and tricks by commenting on the Coricraft post on Expresso's Facebook page to see the latest and greatest in South African decor and home furnishings. So head on over to coricraft.co.za.